Hello everybody, welcome back to Steamboat Real Estate and Investing, your inside track to real estate, mountain living, and intelligent investing here in Steamboat Springs, Colorado with me, your host, Ryan Cox. I am super excited about today's episode. We're going to be speaking with Jeff Meisner, the president of SmartPads and Crafted Structures. SmartPads is a prefab home building company, and I'm excited because I actually was a co-founder of that company and co-owner and operator up until September of 2024 when Jeff acquired the company. I'm excited to check in with him and talk about all things prefab, construction, and real estate here in Steamboat and throughout the state. Let's jump straight into the podcast. All right, welcome back everybody to Steamboat Real Estate and Investing. Today I am joined by Jeff Meisner, president of SmartPads and Crafted Structures. Jeff, how's it going?
It's going great. Thanks, Ryan. And just really want to thank you for having me today.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, and excited to get up to speed with where things are at. But let's jump in right there. Can you explain to the listeners what you do, what SmartPads does, what Crafted Structures does?
Yeah, absolutely. So SmartPads, which obviously was founded by Ryan and Darren, is a luxury prefab manufacturer of residential homes. Crafted Structures, our sister company, is the on-site general contractor component of that, so we can deliver turnkey experience. And frankly, since we transitioned the business, 15 months ago, that's been the most key change, is to vertically integrate our on-site construction management just to provide a more seamless experience. Mm-hmm. And so far, so good. It's going really great.
Awesome. That's great. So tell, for the listeners who aren't familiar with prefab or modular construction, can you just tell us a little bit more about what that is, what that process looks like? Explain it a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So prefab, pretty generic term. It's anything built off-site from a construction job site. There's all shapes and sizes of prefab, from components to assemblies to full volumes. We live in the volumetric modular space, so we're shipping mostly complete interior finished boxes for residential homes, and we do it in a controlled environment. So we have a little bit better quality control, frankly, and we're self-performing all of our trade labor in our factory, so we're building under a roof. Mm-hmm. And there's just a lot of efficiency to the controlled environment and the control of the entire team to kind of be nimble and task switch and be productive every day.
So you've got controlled environment, you've kind of got a team in place that's we'll say well-versed in the processes. How else? You're shipping boxes out, of course, and those are getting put together on site. We'll come back to that. But how else is it different in the actual construction to your typical site-built project?
Yeah, so we don't have insane automation in our factory or anything. It's not robotics. It's still a very manual process to build these homes indoors. And then we have to ship them down the road to their eventual landing spot. But I'll just emphasize that the self-perform and the control of the labor between projects is super efficient. So we don't have a lot of downtime between activities. So we can roll from drywall to paint to cabinets very quickly. Whereas on a job site, you might be waiting a period of weeks just to get a subcontractor in to finish a task. Mm-hmm. So that's a huge advantage. Apart from that, the construction is very similar, except we actually have to make our boxes even more robust because they have to survive transit, and not just survive, but
thrive,
intact,
survive and thrive.
So the engineering is even more substantial than stick built.
Yeah. I think in my experience that was always a big question: how is it different? And the reality is, from a components and materials standpoint, it's not that different. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same products, from 2x6 lumber to drywall to cabinets, flooring, same pieces and parts, just a different delivery method.
Yeah.
That creates a little bit of an edge.
Yeah, and so you had highlighted timeline and efficiency. So maybe just take us through the customer journey for a SmartPads client. Are they picking from a menu of designs? Are most projects custom? How long does design take? How long does build take? How long does on-site take? Take us through that journey.
There's a lot there. Our niche in the residential space, even in the modular space, is custom luxury, mostly for mountain ski towns. So we allow full customization of floor plan, massing, roof lines, and finishes, which is probably our key differentiator in the space, just to be super custom.
Yeah.
Designed to move in, certificate of occupancy varies a little bit, but 9 to 12 months.
Okay.
And the fabrication period is really the middle phase of that, which is probably 3 to 4 months. So design, fabricate, site install, in kind of 3 equal parts roughly. And the speed is crazy. I mean, I think we're moving really fast, and from what I hear in stick built, we don't do a lot of stick built homes ourselves, but 14 months, 18 months, 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, 14 months I think is even on the very fast, efficient side for site build. It seems like, most custom projects here, it seems like they're taking probably 18 months to 2 years on average, I would say. So 9 to 12 months is 50%.
Yeah.
You're cutting that time in half.
Yeah, and I think it's our key value proposition. Yes, we're less expensive and more cost effective than stick built construction, but the speed is overwhelmingly better than the status quo. And we had a customer earlier this year up in North Route, and we hammered the first nail like January 15th in the factory, set the home April 15th, and got a TCO June 28th.
Wow.
So 73 days later.
Wow.
6 months.
It's amazing.
Start to finish. And, our customer, the family, they've been dreaming about being in North Route for 25 years. And they finally pulled the trigger, and it's like, wait, you're telling me I can be in my house by 4th of July? Wow. All right, let's do it. I'm in, let's go.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Nice. So on the cost side, you said you're more efficient, less expensive. How do you measure up on the cost side? Can you give us a percentage, price per square foot? What can you share on that front?
Sure. Well, one thing I would say, if you're looking at cost per square foot, it's kind of a dangerous metric.
Sure. But it's the one everybody wants to know about. So I'm not letting you.
I won't.
I need a number.
I'll give you a number. However, don't compare apples to oranges.
Yes.
Point.
Yes.
So
that's fair.
All in, we're $550 to $600 a square foot,
okay,
including the on-site components of construction. So turnkey number with design, with permitting, with
fully baked.
Yeah, fully baked. So we think that's typically about 10% less than stick-built construction, kind of like for like. Sometimes could be more depending on the situation.
Yeah.
But really, the way to optimize that number is to maximize the amount of factory built components you have and minimize the number of site built components you have. And that's really the key to get that to be the most effective cost per square foot.
What would you say? What is the percentage skew as far as the work scope, man hours, between the factory and on site? What percent is completed at the factory, do you think?
It's roughly 50-50.
Okay.
That can skew to probably 60 factory, 40 on site, or the inverse of that. Of course, you could elect to do a lot of site build construction, build a barn, have a 4-car garage, just do a lot of things that must be on site and skew that even farther. But 50-50 is a good, at least on the cost side.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're being probably generous on that 10%. I would say it seems like most of the figures that I'm hearing for fully baked cost per square foot construction are closer to 700. So you might be closer to 15%. And then if you look at the time savings, I mean, if you're building in half the time, saving a year of construction at 7% interest, or right now we're at, I think, 6.4%.
Sure.
You're saving 35 grand, 32 grand, whatever that number is of interest on top of maybe that 10 to 15. So it seems like there's some good value there.
There's some hidden benefits that we don't even measure.
Sure.
But interest carry is a big deal. And a more certain timeline is a big deal. We put a little bit tighter governing of ourselves to hit our timelines, where I think a lot of projects can kind of walk off course a little more commonly. And just start living, start living in your house.
Sure.
Like, I don't even know how you measure that. Maybe it's a little more qualiteral, but
I think there's a lot of value there.
Key criteria for a lot of homeowners.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about some of the projects that you're working on. Size, number of boxes, locations, just so people can get familiar with a little more tactile with the product and where you operate.
Yeah. So right now we're doing about 10 to 12 houses a year in the
Okay.
factory. Shipped kind of anywhere, but really in the Rocky Mountain West. Hot spots are sort of Telluride, Roaring Fork Valley, Steamboat, even up into Montana recently. So we got a pretty big radius of where we'll ship to. Crafted Structures, however, is only in Routt County right now, at least for now. So we've planted a flag here to be the on-site GC in Steamboat. And in Steamboat right now, we just finished a house in Clark in June that I mentioned. We set a home yesterday in Stagecoach area.
Oh, nice. Congrats.
And another one today in just a few minutes here.
Wow.
Up from downtown on Fish Creek Falls Road.
Okay.
And
What street?
Huckleberry Lane.
Yeah, that's a great spot. Nice.
Beautiful lot. Awesome view. Great place.
Nice. And the size of those homes, finished square footage, what does that look like, or what is the range typically of projects?
We go all the way down to kind of an ADU or a single box concept that's about 800 square feet.
Okay.
Currently developing a new ADU concept, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Which will launch hopefully by the end of this year. Up to 4,000 square feet. And even one we're looking at in Stagecoach is 5,500 square feet.
Wow.
with the basement included.
Yeah.
So we got some agility in size and product type and price point and things like that.
So digging in on costs a little bit, obviously tariffs are a huge headline for businesses and consumers. Are you seeing any movement on your raw material pricing with tariffs, and do you envision that driving the cost of construction up?
Yeah. Well, without getting too deep or nerdy about this,
sure.
I think Liberation Day was a little scary because you didn't really know how it was going to affect everything,
Yes.
when it was going to happen. Frankly, the most maddening thing about it has been just the uncertainty around it. Is it on? Is it off? How much? What products? So it's hard to manage around that. But frankly, we haven't really seen much. I bet I haven't measured this like explicitly, but I'd say it's had like a 1% to 2% effect on our cost structure.
That's good.
We haven't had to pass any of that on to our customers, so we've shielded our clients from any kind of uncertainty. And most of the stuff that we have in our homes is domestically produced. There's a few exceptions, some flooring, some of our plywood comes from Canada. I'm sure some raw materials come non-domestically, like gypsum or silica that goes into glass, but for the most part, it's manufactured in the U.S.
Okay. And what about lumber? What's lumber doing?
Lumber's pretty stable, actually. The 80% of lumber in the U.S. comes from the U.S., and the other 20 is really Canada. And for a long time, there was a carve-out for the Canadian tariffs against lumber, so that was not applicable. That's since changed, I think, in August or September.
Okay.
But it's just plywood, really, or the OSB that's almost exclusively made in Canada. So that's not a huge portion of our house, so we can stay pretty stable with pricing right now.
What kind of housing data do you follow? Where are housing starts at? Do you have a pulse on any of that, and where the industry in general is right now, and what the forecast is?
Short answer is no. I mean, I look at things from time to time, but I don't have like a super robust data source that I'm pulling from all the time. I mean, at our scale, 10 to 12 houses, we don't need to feel like
you don't need to
our
plug into that macro data.
Yeah, the macro data is less relevant at our scale.
Sure.
But I'm more interested in studying that because in an expansion case that we're going to make this year, to even 2x or 3x our footprint, we do have to study that more rigorously.
Sure.
Not only where the demand is and what the price points are in these different markets, but where the most efficient capacity it should be with labor rates, rental rates, shipping costs to these markets. So we got to kind of measure both those sides.
That's great. Sounds like your pipeline is strong and you guys are busy. How far out do you guys book typically?
Yeah, we try to stay booked about 4 to 6 months out.
Okay.
And really not less and not more. So it's kind of, we're threading the needle a little bit with our demand capacity relationship. But one, we don't want to tell people, oh, get in line and get on the waiting list because that dilutes our value proposition. We want to stay ahead of the demand and have enough capacity to serve it. And we can't be too short on that queue either because if we miss a window, we can never fill that slot in the factory again. So we have a little bit more sensitivity to being full or near full all the time, which is unique to manufacturing, which is not as unique or not as relevant in site built construction.
So if somebody wanted to build a house next summer 2026 with SmartPads, they could theoretically get in touch. And right now it's a possibility.
Totally possible. Kind of now's the time though.
Yeah.
The window's closing a little bit on a rolling 6-month basis or so. But yeah, you start design. We gotta price it. We gotta get under contract, start procuring, and get it into the queue. So there's some pre-construction activities that are really important for us and the homeowner to get aligned on, and then go full steam.
Got it. And for those people listening, kind of curious, I would assume the website's the best place to go. Check out photos, look at portfolio.
Yeah, website's great. SmartPads.co. It shows all of our prototypes. I think we have 15 or 17. I actually don't know the number.
Okay.
But they really end up being inspiration points.
Sure.
I think most of what we've done in the last 6 to 8 months is purely custom. So it's like, I like this component of this house and this of this one, and my lot does this, so what do I get?
Yeah.
And we'll navigate our homeowners through that process to curate the right design for the site and their desires.
Yeah. I mean, I think in these mountain towns, Steamboat, I would imagine Telluride, these other towns, every lot is so unique. Maybe with the exception of some of the bigger developments, that are pushed outside from the resort area where there's flat ground. But I mean, the lots are so variable in soils types, topography, size.
Yeah. Yep. We live in the mountains, so we have terrain, right, that we got to deal with.
Yeah.
Several of our prototypes are for uphill lots, or for downhill lots, or for side slope lots, or flat ones. So we kind of have the 4 corners covered there with ideas. Where does my garage sit though? Do I need a side entry, rear alley access, front garage? You get to think about all these things. Zoning considerations are big too. Every lot, even if it's a square or rectangle, can look similar, but setbacks could be different. Max heights, roof pitches, HOA requirements.
Yeah.
We have to analyze all of that in a pretty condensed period of time to really find the right solution.
Yeah. I mean, it's a massive undertaking. Any construction project. For people, questioning, I wonder if new construction is for me. What would be like the biggest piece of advice or filtering criteria for people to consider? What would people need to mentally prep for and be ready for?
Yeah. Well, if anyone's ever, any of the listeners have ever undertaken a project, they probably know that it's difficult, slow, and expensive. And we say, well, there's got to be a better way, right? And with our delivery method being modular and our awesome team, we endeavor to make it easy. There's still a lot of ownership on the homeowner to make decisions and move at a pace that is required to kind of keep moving. But we guide them through that. So, facilitate decision making and optionality as fast as we can. It's still hard. I'm not going to say it's easy every time, but our aspirational goal is to make it easy.
Sure.
And our team is really what makes that happen.
I mean, I think when the company was started, that was still the same ethos, right? There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a more efficient way. And of course, there's been many iterations of growth and evolution with the company, and clearly in the last 15 months, you're taking that to a whole nother level, which is so exciting to see, and exciting to see all these new projects unfold. Since you've been president of SmartPads, as you look back in the last 15 months, what's been the biggest win, or maybe your biggest point of pride, since you've been in the driver's seat at the helm?
Yeah. It's been a lot of wins, some losses too. I mean, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster and a learning curve for me. But I think what I would categorize as our biggest win is our customers have been raving fans.
That's great.
Of our product, our quality, of our speed, of our people. We've gotten rave reviews, and it's come at the expense of some of our learning in the moment. But we've just been headstrong and unrelenting on making happy customers.
Yeah.
Hitting deadlines, delivering, fixing things, whatever it takes.
That's great. The customer is always right.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, usually.
Usually.
Absolutely. That's we promise you a home.
Yeah.
At a price, a fixed price, by the way, which I think is a huge distinction of how we operate. And we got to deliver.
Yeah. Explain that fixed price piece just a little bit more.
Okay, we might need a whole couple hours.
Just give us the 10,000 foot view on that.
So we operate on a fixed price basis, which means for a certain scope, here's your price. No caveats. A lot of builders will operate on a cost plus model, and that makes the cost open ended and reconciled at a later date and surprise ridden. And I think it just creates a recipe for failure with the customer and the builder and the relationship. So we are just so adamant to stay in the fixed price lane, just so there's no surprises.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a massive, that in and of itself removes a massive stress point for so many projects. The budget blowouts, uncertainty of, is this project going to wrap up within our budget and what I've qualified for my construction loan? I mean, that is a huge piece. And I would imagine, of course, challenging for you guys to manage.
Yeah. We got to be better to offer a fixed price.
Yeah, that's right.
And it doesn't mean it's inflexible. Like, there are decisions any homeowner or customer might make post-contract.
Yeah.
And what we do in that environment is say, well, here's what it would look like. Dollarize the decision before we spend the money. And we can do that as a design builder to say, oh, you want to add that deck, you want to do a 3-car garage, not 2, you want to go to a radiant floor heat system, whatever it might be. We've got good pricing data to give that answer really quick so that we don't miss a beat.
Yeah.
It can
still be fluid.
Yeah.
Accommodate, changes to a degree.
Yeah.
That's great. That's kind of the sweet spot.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about the last 15 months. As you look forward through 2026, what gets you super excited about SmartPads, crafted structures? What's on the forefront here?
Yeah, so we just had a business planning session a couple weeks ago for 2026. We all are on the same page now, which I think we were before, but we really want to get better, keep getting better, hone our skills, hone our value proposition, hone our cost structure, whatever we can do to make a better product and a better offering. That's what 2026 looks like. We also said, but there's so much demand out there for what we do in our products and in not just Steamboat, but many, many places. It would be a shame if we couldn't serve it. So we're going to increase our footprint and capacity in 2027 likely.
That's exciting.
Targeting like a 2 to 3x.
Wow.
Depending on how we feel about the market when we hit the go button. Really just to serve more people. Yeah. Because there's a lot of demand.
And is the vision that is largely focused in those resort mountain-centric communities, or does that expand to kind of any and all markets where the product makes sense?
Yeah, we want to stay in our lane. Our niche in these mountain ski towns is a proven concept of cost structure and quality and aesthetic and things like that. So I don't really want to venture outside of that. But if you looked at a heat map of all of our homes, you'd see most of it being in Colorado. We've never done a project in Utah, which I think is crazy. We've done a couple in Montana, but 0 in Wyoming. There's a lot of market there. So the geographic expansion on a pretty, one-day drive radius is there.
Yeah, that's exciting. Good.
Yeah.
All right, let's switch gears a little bit. I'm curious to pick your brain on where you think the real estate market is at. You're based in Denver, but of course you're spending a lot of time in Steamboat and these other mountain communities. What are you hearing and seeing on real estate values, any nuggets or insights you can share from the prefab construction perspective?
Sure. Well, this is mostly anecdotal because I'm not studying the data sets as much as you are. But I think mid 24 to all of 25 has been a little slowdown, just a little flattening of a curve. It feels like that's going to continue or even pull back a little bit with velocity, total number of transactions, price per square foot. I think it's going to pull back a little bit. It's just what I'm seeing. In Denver, the Front Range, no different really. That's a different scale and market certainly than Broward County. But land prices have kind of stayed high. Production homes have slowed down. Approvals are difficult in time, entitling land. So there's a pretty slow velocity even in the Front Range. And I think it's going to continue in 26. We'll see. That said, we have such a small market share. It doesn't freak me out.
Sure.
And we're getting a lot of leads per week that far exceeds our capacity. So we're aggressively hitting the growth button in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's not slowing us down.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much spot on for where the steamboat market is at. We're pretty much flat across the board year over year. We've got a lot more inventory, but price per square foot across all product categories were, I think, $812 a foot, which I think is right where we were at this time last year. And sales sales volume is largely flat. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in 2026. Mortgage rates have come down, but we're still at a 6.3% or so. So we'll see what happens in the next Fed meeting. And I think rates will be a huge component for real estate transactions and also, I would imagine construction, housing starts, et cetera. So nice. Well, I know you've got to get off to this set.
Yeah.
I've got one more question, but before I jump to that, any other information that you think the listeners would find interesting or kind of parting messaging on SmartPads and crafted structures?
I would just say the value proposition is strong in what we do. Speed being immensely compelling. Our team is awesome. It's a great experience. Try to make it easy and get you in your dream home as fast as possible. That's the goal.
Love it. Good. Well, I like to ask this question to wrap up. If you had $1 million to invest in Steamboat real estate or business, how would you invest that money and why? I think this is probably a slam dunk answer for you, but
yeah, it's a layup.
It's a layup.
I'd put it right back into our business.
Sure.
And that means being able to hire more and very talented people, doing capital expenditure that increases our capacity, just really doubling down as much as we can. That's what I would do first. That said, in the real estate here, I have been paying attention a little bit. Land, I would love to control more land. We don't own any lots right now. I've only seen that tick up even in 12 months. And I think if I could envision 10 years, it's only going to go up from there on a long horizon. So just having control of good land that is desirable is powerful from an investment perspective, from a, can we build on this lot perspective and provide a product really quickly if we own the land or control the land. So that'd be the second thing we do.
I'm going to ask a follow-up question there because I like that answer. Where, as far as land, where would you be looking?
Well, there's some still semi-urban infill lots that exist. I think they're priced accordingly, pretty high, frankly. Yeah. That wouldn't be where I'd go first.
Okay.
I like a little bit more of the perimeter of town. Spent some time down in Stagecoach. Time there, including the land. Out west, there's some good stuff too. Kind of all the way to, a lot of land out toward the west, down 40. And I think there's some really cool spots there. Maybe some bigger lots, 40-acre lots. Yeah. So we're keeping an eye out.
Good. All right. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time. And again, if people want to get in touch, best way to do so is...
Go to smartpads.co. We have a contact form you can fill out. Ryan, I don't know if you want to post my contact information.
Yeah, we'll share. We'll link to the website, link to all the information.
Yeah, happy to do that.
Perfect.
Great.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jeff.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it.
All right. That was a great episode. Thanks to Jeff for joining us. Great to learn more about SmartPads and crafted structures. As he outlined, prefab construction has a lot of benefits. And anyone considering a new build in Steamboat or Mountain Town, I would strongly suggest that you check out SmartPads, get educated. They're building great product, providing a great service. And if you can save 10 to 15%, that's a pretty compelling story. And 9 to 12 months of time, there's just a lot of benefits that start to stack up. We'll link to the website below. I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to wish everybody a happy early Thanksgiving. And if you or someone you know is interested in real estate and Steamboat or the surrounding areas, don't hesitate to reach out. I can be of service. Ryan.cox@steamboatsir.com. And now we will jump into a quick market report. Median sold price per square foot is $812 a square foot in Steamboat Springs, and that is flat year over year. Median sales price in Steamboat Springs year to date is $1.26 million. That's just down 2%. Median days on market is 29 days on market here in Steamboat, and that's up 32% year over year. Number of listings sold year to date, we're at 489 listings sold year to date. That's down 3%. Sales volume in Routt County also down 3%. That's at $805 million. And right now we have 116 listings pending in Routt County. That's down 15% year over year. And finally, in Routt County, we have 329 active residential listings, and that is up 66%. Looking at some additional data from Land Title, of the total transactions in September, 47% involved local buyers, 18% came from the Front Range, 35% were out-of-state purchasers. There were no international buyers in September. There were a total of 105 loans in September, with 37% buyers closing with financing, and cash purchasers increased, ticking up to 63% of buyers closing with cash. Current 30-year fixed mortgage rates, according to Mortgage News Daily, sit at 6.38% as of November 18th. And again, don't hesitate to reach out if I can be of service. Ryan.Cox at steamboatsir.com. Thanks so much.